I love that scene. I love that scene. I don't know how many of you here golf, but I would venture to say that nobody ever golfs around without using at least 3 or 4 lines from that movie every single time you play. Ray and I put this as the 9th best sports movie of all time. We love it. I can't watch it enough. I watch it hundreds of times. One thing I'll tell you about the movie is it started out being a much different movie than what it ended up as. It started out as a movie about the caddies. If you see the guys in the movie who play the caddies, Danny Noonan and the other guys, they were supposed to be the stars. But as they started filming it, they realized that they had Rodney Dangerfield there in a bit part, and Bill Murray in a backup part, and Chevy Chase. These great comics on top of their game playing small roles. And so every night they would just rewrite the movie and put in scenes with them, and they redid the entire thing, and they became the stars of the movies. One of the things, it was Rodney Dangerfield's, the first movie Rodney Dangerfield ever appeared in. And after about 3 days, he turned to one of the actresses on the set. It was actually the woman who plays Lacey Underall, if you know the movie. And he said to her, "I'm dying out here. I'm bombing. I'm terrible." And she said, "What are you talking about? You're great. You're terrific. You're funny." And he goes, "Nobody's laughing at my jokes." And she said, "It's a movie. The audience in the theater will laugh." He was so used to doing live nightclub that he's trying to get a laugh from the people on the set and was worried when he couldn't. And he just was absolutely brilliant in this movie. Anyone say on it? No? Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on this movie? All right, we got one more doctor and one more film clip for you. And then we'll take some questions if you like, and we will, I said, Ray and I booked for sale the Ultimate Book of Sports Movies. We'll stick around, we'll be happy to autograph it for you, and $5 of every sale goes to the Cooper Foundation. Very good cause. All right. Oops, I need my notes. My notes on Dr. Seftel. There we go. All right, Dr. Alan Seftel, here he is, head of the Division of Urology at Cooper University Hospital. His special interests include male sexual medicine, sexual function, male infertility, benign prostatic hyperplasia, and testosterone deficiency in male. He has a particular interest in treating men with low testosterone levels and is researching innovative approaches to treating this medical condition. This was a mature audiences, and so here he is, Dr. Seftel.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to everybody. So unlike my colleagues, we deal with not only sort of diseases that are more surgical, but we also deal with some of the diseases that hit men when you start turning 50 and even a little bit younger. So most men, when you start hitting 50, will have some issues with urination. You may be getting up too many times at night. You may have to find a restroom every time you go out. And you may know all the restrooms on the turnpike, as many of my patients do. So if you have a prostate problem, which this may be, then you might want to come in and see a urologist and get an assessment. And most importantly, you want to make sure you don't have any prostate cancer, which can occur in younger men. We check your prostate. Most people don't like us offering a prostate exam or rectal exam, but it's very important to get one. Just like it's important to get a colonoscopy when you're age 50 or so. It's important to get a PSA test. So we try to give you a comprehensive evaluation of all your urologic issues. We talk about kidney stones, we talk about your prostate health, bladder health, we talk about your sexual function, which does drop off, unfortunately, when you hit 50. Most men lose a little bit of their edge, and that is, unfortunately, a predictor of future cardiovascular disease. So we give you a comprehensive evaluation to have you understand what your risk is for not only your prostate health, your sexual health, your testosterone, but also your cardiovascular future. So it's really a nice way to get involved in your own health. Most men, as we know, probably don't see doctors until they're 50 or so. Women see doctors in their 20s and 30s. As you know, they have babies, they have mammograms, they have other exams. Men are pretty stoic. They avoid physicians until they hit their 50s, and even then, most men don't like coming in to see us. But I would encourage you, if you do have any problems that you think may be of interest or importance to you, then I would encourage you to come in. It's sort of interesting. Many men come in because their wives or their spouses or their partners drag them in because they know that these are important issues, and the men are sort of resistant to coming in. But I would ask you to consider your health as a priority. You know, you sort of take it for granted that you're the breadwinner, that you've been doing well for 20 or 30 years, you've got a great family, a great life, and now it's time to take care of yourself a little bit. So come in, see a urologist, get an evaluation. We'll talk a little bit about what ails you. We'll go through things and give you a better understanding of what your issues are, how you can treat them. Many times we can treat you non-surgically. There's many medicines out there that will help you. So please, think about yourself. It's important for you, for your family, for your kids, and your grandchildren. So come on in. We'll be happy to talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll ask the question that every man here over 50 wants asked. What is normal in terms of getting up at night to pee?
Well, let's see. If you're about 50, most people will probably get up once a night. I think once a night is fair, as long as it doesn't interfere with your sleep pattern too much. You can get up, go back to sleep, and if you have a good restful night, then you're okay. If you start getting up 2 or 3 times at night, if you can't get back to sleep, it interferes with your work the next day, if you're tired, you're exhausted, it may be time to think about getting some help. You don't want to walk around tired, you don't want to walk around exhausted, and the medicines that we can offer you, even some minimally invasive surgeries, really offer you some great benefit. So once a night is fine. Anything more than that, you probably should at least think about coming in.
Once a night, I feel better already. Okay, some of you may have questions for the doc. You may not want to raise your hands and ask them in front of everybody. Obviously, that's understandable. I believe the docs are going to stick around for a few minutes after the program. They'll be around if you want to kind of corner one and ask them a question one-on-one. You're certainly invited to do so. All right. Our last clip tonight is one of the great closing scenes ever in a movie. We rank this as the 4th greatest sports movie of all time. The movie is The Natural with Robert Redford. Ray, why don't you talk about this scene?
The Natural is a script that kicked around Hollywood for the better part of 10, 12 years. And no studio believed in it. They thought it was a downer of a story. They thought it was a story about an old washed-up baseball player who wasn't going to go anywhere. But Barry Levinson, the director, who was just off of making the movie Rain Man, had a lot of cachet in Hollywood, and he had always wanted to do a baseball movie. And Robert Redford was a very big star at that time, and he always wanted to do a baseball movie. So the two of them joined forces, and Nate got the script, and Nate took it to a movie studio. And really, on the strength of having Barry Levinson direct and Robert Redford star, they got this movie made. And it turned out brilliantly. It was a tremendous acting job. There was a lot of concern about whether Robert Redford could pull off the character of Roy Hobbs. You know, Redford at the time was 46 years old, and there was some question about, even though Roy Hobbs was supposed to be an old guy, he wasn't supposed to be that old. So there was question about whether Redford could be credible in this role. But once Redford picked up a baseball bat and swung it, they realized he could, because Redford is a legit baseball player. He was a really good player and a very fine athlete. So they made the movie, and it's a terrific film beginning to end. but we thought the ending is we thought maybe the best ending of any sports movie. It really is a goosebump kind of moment. So here is the final scene of The Natural.
I love that scene so much. I love the way the players are jumping around like little kids. Ray and I discussed that scene a lot when we wrote the book. It's just so beautifully edited, that scene. All of the camera cuts. Ray, you want to talk about this one a little more? You wrote this, Jeff.
Just very quickly, this film was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, and it did not win any of them. It was nominated for Best Art Direction. Glen was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Randy Newman was nominated for Best Musical Score. And a cinematographer named Khalid Dashnell was nominated for Best Photography, Best Cinematography. And while I think all 4 nominees were very worthy, I think the cinematographer was most worthy. This is one of the most beautifully photographed movies I think I've ever seen. And I think he should have won the Oscar just for that final scene alone. Having worked at NFL Films for 13 years, I developed an appreciation for good camera work. And the way he shot that, the way he framed that, and had that wonderful circling of the bases with the cascading heats coming down from the roof is just wonderful. It's just magical. It was a woman named Peggy Ashcroft won the Oscar for a film called Passage to India, if any of you ever saw that. But I think that Dashnell has been a great cinematographer for many years, but I think this was his greatest achievement.
All right, great stuff. So here's the deal. We're going to stick around. The doc are going to kind of circulate if you have any questions. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts about the sports movies before we leave the stage? Yes.
You guys shot the Playbook.
Yes. This is the question. So here's the question. Ray and I wrote this book together. Ray and I are different people. Sometimes Ray and I have different tastes. The question was, are there any movies we disagreed on? I'll tell you, by the way, we didn't show you any of our top 3 films in the book. We have Rocky as the best sports movie ever made. We had Hoosiers as number 2. And we had Raging Bull as number 3. And we generally agreed throughout. I mean, we would kind of discuss and debate and wrestle a little bit, but we pretty much agreed. And then we get down into like, what's the 87th best movie? Well, you know, we kind of just went on faith. There was one movie on which we really strongly disagreed. One of us loved it. His wife went to Notre Dame. One of us thought that Rudy was one of the most manipulative, annoying movies he'd ever seen. I won't tell you which one's which. We ended up putting it 55, 57. Kind of a compromise. Again, one of us would have had a top 20, top 15. The other of us would have not had it in the book. By putting it 57, what we realized is we made everybody upset. Because people who loved the movie would say to us, "What are you, crazy? How do you have that not in the top 15? And other people, more sensible, would say, "How could you have that in your book? It's a ridiculous movie." It's the only movie that we really disagreed on. There's also one other movie that we kind of came to realize afterward that we had underrated, which I think you got to be under 35 to fully get the movie, and that was Sandlot, which is in the book, but I think it's number 83 or 85, I don't know. And upon further review, we would have put it much, much higher. But that was it. Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, his question is, how do we come to the rankings? Yeah. We did. It was a 5-part thing, if you remember what it was. Sports action being one, story being one, believability of the story. There had to be a scene in the movie that caused you to either get goosebumps or a lump in your throat. You had to care about the characters, because a movie where you didn't care about the characters didn't really work. That's about it. Right, the credibility of the action was very, very important to us. It had to pass muster. You did not have to have a big star. Slapshot is number 6 for us, which has a big star in Paul Newman. Yeah, everybody loves Slapshot. That was number 6 for us. But there are movies in there which are pretty obscure. We have movies from foreign, we have a cricket movie from India that we found worthy to put in. We have a couple little small documentaries. There's all kinds of movies. We watched them all. We watched about 200 something movies to come up with our top 100. And I gotta tell you, it never wasn't fun. It was the funnest. Okay, so we have prizes to give away. I'm gonna hand this down, let each doc pick out one name, and that's the person who wins one prize. So, this is for a Cooper prize pack.
Brian Fricker.
Are you here? There you are. Congratulations. Oh, the prize pack includes a free prostate exam, I'm told. All right, this is another Cooper prize pack. Who knows what medical procedures involved here?
Looks like it's Lou Lanza.
Lou? It looks like Lanza. There you go. This is a football signed by Eagle center Jason Kelsey. And the winner is?
Jerry Petty.
Jerry? Are you here? There he is, into that. Got the cheap seats. All right, this is tickets to see the Phillies Mets October 1st. Is that Saturday? That's Saturday, yeah. Brian Howard's second last game with the Phillies, and the winner is?
Ryan Crock.
Ryan here. Raise your hand. There he is. There he is. All right, and here you go. Eagles tickets. I don't know what game it is, but this is a... You know what game it is, Vince? Okay, well, it's a pair of Eagle tickets. And the winner is?
Neil Vogel.
Neil? There he is. Congratulations. All right, we want to, actually, I wanted to thank Justin, but he left, who, there he is. Justin did all the AV for us tonight on short notice. Did a great job. Really appreciate it. Amanda from Cooper, Amanda Bender, who put this thing together. Very nice job by you. All of our street teamers who are here tonight, appreciate all of their work.